Check, check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. All right, so I'm gonna read a part of this book. The book I'm reading from is Wisdom of the Mystic Masters by Joseph J. Weed. It's a book I just got. A very dope book. It's full of exercises through it. The part of the book that I'm reading now is a section about what happens at death. All right. So I'm going to read some of it and then go from there. All right. So, what happens at death? At death, most people fall into a deep slumber, which is most restful and enables them to forget much of the unpleasantness and tension of life. Low-grade entities usually retain consciousness and fight to get back into a physical body as soon as they possibly can. On the other hand, the advanced student will proceed in full consciousness away from the earth plane and up to the higher realms. Actually, when souls pass through the transition, they are in various states of consciousness. The highly developed soul, the conscious sheller of a master, and the advanced student pass over in full waking consciousness and are usually met by their own master or a high being sent at his direction to minister them. They are quite eager to present themselves immediately to the board of judgment, so called, and frequently these shellers and their sponsors may do so within as little as 12 hours after transition. This is not a place of judgment in the sense that the life is adjudged to be a success or failure and corresponding reward or punishment meted out. No such thing. This board is composed of at least 3 and sometimes more highly developed entities with computer-like minds that assess and evaluate every single thought, emotion, and action of the entire life, even the smallest and most insignificant. Then, based upon this evaluation, the future training and instruction of the soul is determined, its place, its type, and its duration. This is something an advanced student is most anxious to know, hence his eagerness to appear for this appraisal as soon as possible. However, most souls on passing from the body are given what is called a spiritual vacation, a release and relief from the pressures of life. The average individual, anticipating a reunion with departed members of the family and friends, is given every opportunity to visit with these loved ones for a certain period of time, to renew association and to enjoy the happiness which they have been taught to expect. Some, however, are greatly surprised. The self-consciously religious who sees themselves as paragons of virtue actually expect, when they come to realize they are dead, that they should be ushered into a glorious place of light accompanied by a fanfare of drums and trumpets. When they discover they are no different from before, or not very much, and when they find that no one pays attention to them, except perhaps to pity them, they actually feel resentful. I dwell upon these types because they are numerous and also because they themselves and most of their family and friends fully expect that upon dying they will immediately be ushered in a pomp before the throne of God. A person who is morally weak or frankly evil usually sees himself quite clearly and is ready for some sort of chastisement or rebuke. But those who believe themselves to be saints on earth expect reward. During their lifetime, these people are often mentally and sometimes loudly critical of others. This, Added to their complacent, this added to the complacent self-approval creates a dull appearing shell about them, which when seen by the inner eye has a shabby appearance that stays with them after death. Simple people with love in their hearts shine radiantly, and the contrast is readily marked. Most people have an erroneous idea of what constitutes good action and meritorious thought. They are impressed with the exterior signs of virtue and assume that if they appear to be good, God-fearing people, they will have lived a proper life. In other words, they are more concerned with the image they present and what other people think of them than they are with their own progress. You must learn to see yourself clearly, not through the eyes of others or your own astigmatic vision, but through the eyes of your soul. Possibly, the greatest concern of your soul right now is that you avoid giving injury to others and to yourself. You can injure by thought and by emotion as well as in physical action, probably more so. If you can achieve harmlessness, true harmlessness, in this life, you will have not lived in vain. As has been indicated, this judgment board is not sitting there waiting to mete out punishment. This erroneous impression has been created by certain organized religions, which teach that upon death each person must face judgment and then be sent to either heaven or hell. Nothing could be more mistaken. The main thought and intention of this board is to find a way by which each soul may be given the greatest possible opportunity to balance out its debt to life and learn how to control energy so that it may complete its evolution. Probably the worst experience of the newly departed soul, an experience which may come nearest to the hell of the religious teachings, is the feeling of remorse and regret it suffers as it stands in the freedom of the etheric body and looks back at what it might have accomplished yet failed to. This board acts at all times for the good of the individual, for the best interest of the entire human evolution. After the advanced soul and the board have come together, examined the life just past, and decided how near it came to attaining plans and promises made before death, a decision is jointly reached. Usually, the soul's decision is much too severe and must be tempered by the mercy and far-sighted vision of the board. The soul then sets to work at inner levels to expiate as much of its karma as possible in the astral world. There is nothing painful in this. For the aspiring one, it is a joyful service and fills him with a sense of accomplishment. Yet, this is the very stage referred to by some religions as purgatory. Meaning, many think of it as a place of punishment, yet the opposite is nearer the truth. The foregoing applies to the advanced souls, the accepted shell or disciple. When the average man passes through transition, he is usually allowed a certain time to rest, and it is during this period of adjustment that contact with loved ones, father, mother, wife, or husband, who have passed on before is permitted. They explain the characteristics of the new Malu to him and help bring about more quickly his understanding of and adjustment to it. When he is ready, and sometimes this is only after a passage of many years, he is called to come before the board of judgment. Usually he responds immediately, but he need not. This is a matter of individual decision. There are some who prefer There are some who prefer to stay in the dream state of the astral realm and refuse to face up to the reality of future need and growth. They thus delay their own evolution until such time as they tire of the pleasures they have created for themselves. Going still further down the scale, you find those who are convinced there is no existence after death and refuse to recognize one. These and certain sluggish minded individuals fall at death into a deep sleep, which may last a long time, sometimes several hundred years. They have no awareness of this passage of time, but all the while a healing and nourishing process is at work on them. They awake, finally, in a refreshed state and are much more willing to take the necessary steps leading toward their own development. Still, farther down the scale, there are those souls that are earthbound. These are individuals with such a strong love or such a powerful hate for the things of earth or the people of earth that they fight death and even after death refuse to believe that they are not still alive. They cling to people or things they have loved or disliked and live on the vitality and magnetism of their living people. These types tend to reincarnate at the very first opportunity, usually quite recklessly, and thus create for themselves another chaotic existence. A case that came to my attention some years ago of interest. I have known this man in life. All right, so he's about to get into telling the story. And I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied, so I'm gonna leave the reading at that. So for the average person, you probably wondering how could it even be possible for the author to be able to tell you about what goes on after death or whatever. Personally, I can't speak to what happens when we die. But I do know one thing absolutely 100% sure, that whenever you cross over, when we cross over from this physical realm into these other realms, these other non-physical realms, there is help over there waiting for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we absolutely do have ancestors over there. We have spirit guides. We have teachers over there that's eager to teach us. We have the spirits that will absolutely take us places and reveal things to us and give us advice and help us along our physical existence. You know what I'm saying? And as well as they give us spiritual wisdom. But anyway, I ain't gonna overtalk that. Here's the book. Definitely a great book to have. It should be on everybody's bookshelf. It's written in a very common sense based approach. The author don't get too heavy on the fancy words and all of that. So, I'm out.